Let's make a cute ghost coaster using these 3 strips of fabric, starting out with measurements 11, 13, and 15 inches long for these, and they are 2.5 inches wide. I'm going to start off by using batting and adding it to each of the fabric strips. I'm creating fabric tubes, so I'm going to be using my handy helper here, the Gypsy tube maker, to help fold my fabric and my batting together from the outside in, and then it's going to be folded in half. For this project, I'm going to actually make the ends a little bit flared out because I want the ghost to have kind of like that little, the edges flared a little to give it that wispy look at the bottom. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just folding the ends on both of these out kind of like this and then folding it to give it that wide flare look here. It's going to look like that, and I'm going to sew it up. I start by sewing the end, and I'm using about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can use whatever you'd like, but I just find that that works best for these projects myself. And what I do is I go down and I start where the batting is. So for this, I wanted a fringe at the bottom. So I ended up, see right here, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch, leaving the batting empty. When I sew all my tubes, I absolutely love using this magnetic seam guide that I have here to the right. And I'm always using a walking foot for these projects just because I find that it helps a lot with the thick fabric and all the layers and stuff. So again, here you can see how I have that flared out. I do it on both ends of every fabric strip tube here that I'm creating. And then I'm going to stop right about here where I stopped with the batting. So wherever I cut the batting to, that's where I'm stopping my stitches at. So here's what it's going to look like. You can see up here at the top, a little bit of space, and then down here at the other end too. So I'm going to do that with each of them, and they're going to look like this, and each one is going to be a little bit longer than the next. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to be folding them in half. I'm going to make like a little rainbow shape here. So this part here, you just need to fold the fabric in half, and the trickiest part is getting this right here to squish up and to fold the way you want it. You want it to be as nice and neat as possible, and you want these two ends to be as close together as possible. You can always trim it after, but I find that you want it to be just as you're working as close as possible to start off with. And then I like to go in with my little mini iron and press it a little. It helps to get that fabric in there to squish up and fold so I can sew it. And then I'm going to do that with each layer after too. I'm going to sew them one by one though first, so it's a little bit easier. I like to use a zigzag stitch with settings 5 and 2.5 on my machine. And all I'm doing here is just going right straight down the middle, and I'm going to go all the way down until I reach to where my batting stopped, where I cut my batting to be. I pin my rows on because it just helps to keep everything secure, and then you can mess with it. See up here, you have to get that fabric to lay flat, so it has it's a really sharp bend there. So you need that fabric on that inside curve to really be squished up so that it lays all nice and flat and neat and together. So pinning it helps. You can use more pins if you'd like. I've been doing this a while, so I don't use as many pins. I just kind of tack it where I need it. And again, you want both sides on the left and right down there at the bottom to be as even as possible. I'm going in again using my iron to help just kind of get that fabric to really sit nicely, so when I go to sew, it's nice and neat. And then here's my path to sew for this. I'm going to sew on the right side, and I'm going to go all around that U shape with my zigzag stitch. You want both of the fabric tubes to lay gently next to each other. You don't want to overlap them. You want them just next to each other, so you're having that zigzag stitch connect them both. When I get down to the corner here, I slow down, I take my time. It's a lot of little fabric in there. You want to make sure that your zigzag stitch is getting on both sides of the material, and you just watch to make sure that it's all coming out nice and neat, keeping everything organized and try to be as flat as possible. Again, I continue down to the end where my batting stops, and that's where I'm going to end my stitches. And here's what it looks like when it's sewn up together. I know I get this a lot. A lot of people say, oh, I make it look so easy. And yes, I know I've been doing this for a while. I've made a bunch of these, and I know it is not easy when you first start. Getting that material to work and to lay flat how you want it is not always so easy as you think it would be. I definitely struggled in the beginning, but pinning and ironing definitely helps. Take your time and just get that fabric to lay nicely so that when you take it to your machine and you go to sew, it's a little bit easier. So don't get discouraged. Some materials too are a little bit harder to work with than others. The better fabrics, cotton works the best, I think. That will help. So here's what it looks like with all 3 fabric strips. Now you can cut it across here, or you can leave it like this and add the fringe or however you'd like. Totally do whatever you'd like. I decided to cut mine across, and then I'm going to go in here and I added, let's see, I think I added 1, 2, 3 little cuts here to give it a little bit of a cutesy little fringe to it. That's just the design I came up with for this. I also, on some of my little coasters I made, sewed a stitch across the bottom there just to add it, to make it look, like design-wise. I don't think, like, functionally it absolutely needed it, but that's an option too. I added a zigzag on one of mine. I thought that was nice. So with these projects, just have fun with it, don't take it too seriously. It's definitely, something to enjoy and just have fun with, get creative, see what you like. And so like I said, I did the fringe with this and just seeing how it looked, and I thought it looked really cute. So I hope you guys think it's cute too and you make these fun little coasters. Next, if you want to add faces, you can. I do have a pattern on my website, christyshandmadecreations.com. It is a free pattern for this, and it includes the little faces to print out. So you can take those and cut the template out, and then you can use your fabric and create your little faces. There's a few different ones for them. So here's what it looks like without the face. I thought it was cute like that, but if you want the face, you can add the face too. I decided you could do the fabric glue, or in this case I used a little bit of glue and then just to hold the face down, because I decided I was going to sew these on because I had no fabric glue at my house. I thought I did. It's like one of those things where you're like, I swear I have it. Could not find it, of course. So I had to sew them on. I went in and used a tiny little zigzag stitch for mine. I think you may want a different stitch. I don't know. It depends on what you like, I thought it was cute because I used a zigzag stitch all throughout it. But I used settings 3 and 2 for this. So it makes a tinier little zigzag stitch to connect the pieces on there. So I went through and did that. For this, I really just took my time and I pivoted the material a lot. So put the needle down and then pivot to get around those sharp curves and stuff for the circles and the shapes of the face. So here's what it looks like. It measures about 4 by 6 inches here, and then I made 2. I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching, you guys.